about my computer problems into the microphone. Hello, everybody. Today is Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. It's 7:03 p.m. Call this meeting of the Town Council to order. Do we have any public comment today? Chris, come aboard. How are you tonight, Chris?
I just like to, I know that they're thing on the agenda about the hunting dates, but that Black Rock lottery hunt started again yesterday. And again, it just seems like kind of a mess. There's no enforcement out here. When that agreement was made, the state promised, I was there at the meeting, promised enforcement 50% of the time. And I think it's high time that the council stood up and said, look, you got to live up to your end of the bargain. And I also think it's time that you sit down and renegotiate this management agreement and the conditions, because it's not just state land. You got the town involved, the Nature Conservancy. And I think everybody should, if they're going to be rules, they should be followed. I mean, nobody comes out from the state to put the signs up. As far as I know, local police department does it.
Mhm.
And if there's a problem, who do you call? Because none of these hunters have to register at the police station. They just come out here and hunt. I mean, I've lived here all my life. I have to go to the police station and register every year. I think everybody that comes out here should have to hunt. I don't care, register. I don't care what they're hunting, but at least have a file at the police department and let them make them aware of all the rules out here. That's for safety.
Mhm.
And that's what we need to think about is safety.
Terrific.
All
Thank
right.
you, Chris.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it as always. Any other public comment?
I have a follow-up to that, Keith, but I'll wait till we get to the hunting
Yeah,
agenda.
perfect. We have a consent agenda, some minutes, a couple of letters, and reducing 8 to 7. Okay.
Jane Conway did not expressed interest to not serve. So anyway, that's just reduced.
I have to keep that in mind in the future.
Yeah.
I'd like to express my interest in not serving.
What committee is this?
To 250.
My question on that was, do we need to reduce the number, or could we, I mean, we're just at the very beginning of this, maybe someone else might be interested?
There was a request for the reduction just for quorum issues.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
It would make a quorum of 4 instead of 5.
Okay,
I mean,
but we don't think we could find someone else who would be interested. Okay,
I think the way we did it was, if I recall correctly, was to be flexible in case we got more interest, right?
not less.
Yeah, but, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
Okay, I don't have an issue with that.
Can I have a motion on the consent agenda, please?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Yeah.
I always love it when we actually have appointments to make to boards. The first is the Board of Assessment Review. Rob Closter has expressed interest in this one. Is there a motion to appoint Rob?
I'll make a motion. Oh, go ahead, Mara.
No, you go.
Make the motion to appoint Mr. Clough.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no.
Keith, can I ask,
Yeah.
was Rob on there before? Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. That's why I saw reappointment. Right.
Oh, right. Yes.
Right.
All right. So next, we have 2 folks who have volunteered for the New Shoreham Tourism Council. Millie, I don't want to overstep here, but I actually think it's fabulous that we have two people who are interested and frankly, in an important demographic. My inclination is to appoint Moira or to, make a motion for Moira, but I'm wondering, to get back to what I was saying, whether you could reach out to Amanda and tell her the other openings that we have, because I know her, and I would love for her to serve on something.
I think, Keith, we should probably make a motion first on this and then.
Yes,
and
yes.
do that. So, I'd make a motion, we appoint Maura O'Neill to the tourism committee.
So Amanda, I know well, and I do think it would be great if she'd serve. We have a lot of really interesting stuff open. And she's here. So is there any other discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Molly? Know what the Thanksgiving conversation is going to be about at your house?
Why didn't everybody express interest?
Right, exactly. So we have a number of openings. I know we have a Christian Motor Vehicles for Hire, HDC, Old Harbor Task Force, Planning, Police Advisory Commission, Senior Advisory Committee, and Sewer and Water. I know we have one volunteer on planning I was gratified to see this week, which is great. Please volunteer. Next up are our important community activists from Solar Initiative. Jamie, do you want to go first?
Thank you, yes.
And Wade? Great. Terrific. Just for formality's sake, identify yourself, before you speak the first time, please.
Thank you so much. Jamie Hennessy, Program Director for the Solar Initiative of Block Island.
And I am Wade Ortel. I'm a board member of the Solar Initiative Block Island.
And our
Welcome, guys.
technological advisor.
Terrific.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us here tonight. We're very excited with the
course.
proposal we've brought. As you know, the Block Island Solar Initiative is a local nonprofit focused on reducing our community's reliance on fossil fuels. Towards that end, we've sponsored a number of projects, including the installation and operation of a level 3 charger at the power company. Operating that station has led us to recognize the importance for expanding public access to EV charging and improving the reliability of EV charging on our island. Given that we do not own any property for such a project, we are asking the town to consider providing a site in the town hall parking lot to host a level 2 charging station at no cost to the town. The Solar Initiative will assume all the expenses related to the installation, maintenance, and operation of the proposed level 2 EV charging station. So we ask for your support of our proposal as we continue to work towards a more sustainable future for our island community. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Questions, comments?
The,
Go ahead.
I'll defer. Go ahead, Molly. You'll
Okay,
probably ask
my
what I'm going to
question
ask.
was about, are there any insurance requirements for that? And is that something you would take on, or is that something you would expect the town to
Yes,
take on?
in the proposal, we indicated that we will cover all insurance
Okay, I
needs.
missed that. All
Yes,
right, thank
as
you.
we've insured the EV charging station at the power company.
Bill?
Yeah,
Great
and
question.
we had talked earlier about the biannual. You want to just
Right,
clarify that?
yes, yes. In the proposal, I had proposed a biannual meeting to review the project, thinking that meant twice a year. We reviewed it, and biannual could mean every 2 years as
Yeah.
well. We proposed changing that to an annual
Okay.
with
And-
the town.
And then on the finance, I know the first year you're not going to
Yeah.
make anything anyways, and you have it on the second year. Would you be opposed to yearly giving a financial update?
Oh, we're very, very happy to review the finances every year. I think that the reason I put the second year, I was hoping that by the second year, maybe there would be some revenue. Yes, but yes, we're happy to review every single year with the town.
And my thought to that is I would hope you'd have it on the first year. It'd be great if you did, but you don't. I think people appreciate the commitment you made to it. So I
Thank
think
you.
that's from that. end.
That's very, very, it's a good point. Thank you so much.
Wade, can I ask you a technical question? I remember, poor Will Young, struggled so much with sort of making sure that one that ran well. Is there something new that makes us more optimistic? By the way, I'm with you. I'm just I'm just curious about.
So the charger that's at the power company is a level 3, a DC fast charger. So it is able to charge EVs quickly. But it's a much more complicated device than what we're proposing installing here.
I
and
see.
A much more expensive device as well. And it did have its teething problems and
Yeah.
has continued to have some reliability issues. That's actually one of the reasons we want to do this project is when that charger inevitably does have hiccups, we'll be able to tell people there's somewhere to charge. We've had a number
Right.
of people that get stuck with
Sure.
no way to quickly charge. Level 2 chargers are, I mean, calling it a charger is a bit of a misnomer. It's basically a box with some electronics and a big relay that turns on, and it connects the car to the power grid. The charger is actually on board the car. The complicated switching electronics are all inside the car. So the device is really quite basic. We don't expect significant
Right.
reliability issues, and they're relatively inexpensive. So if something does break, rather than having a technician come out, we'd be looking at having an electrician just replace the whole unit.
I see. Gotcha. I have one other practical question. If they're not working, I don't want the clerk's office burdened with people coming in saying your charger's not working. So is there some signage or something that we can use that says right in front of people that this is not the town's charging station and we don't have, so you should call this number if it's not working?
Yes, we actually initiated that this year with the level 3 charger at the power company. We have a phone number, and that phone number, people would call us and report what was going on, and then they would get a response within the business day. I would actually handle it. I'd call them to find out what the problem was or text them because we needed that data to kind of track what was happening at the charging station. And then I could relay the information to our tech team and they could work on solutions. So we will put the same phone number on the charger where people can call or text that day to report any outages.
It would be, I was thinking also along the lines of a bit of an admonition. Don't go into
yeah.
town hall.
We'll be very happy to do that.
Good.
Whatever you want. Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's, I think for the people that don't have the proposal from, there's no cost to the town. And it's a pay as you use it from that end of it. I defer over to the town manager, your recommendation on this as far as its location in the proposal.
Yeah, we did a preliminary zoning review and we don't think there are any obstacles from that perspective. A little, basic permitting that we'll need to go through. So I think what we would be looking for from the council tonight, if you were interested in moving forward, would be to authorize me to work with the solar initiative, finalize any details. If we decide we need an MOA or MOU, draft that and bring any final details back to the council.
Would somebody like to make that motion?
But is it,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, more questions though,
Sorry.
but is the proposal as presented, its location, space that it takes up? What's your recommendation based on,
I think
I know you work out the legal logistics. of it,
Yeah, and
not
we
from the physical.
the location a little bit. I know it's been cited to be closest to the transformer, which makes a lot of sense. We want to just go through a couple more machinations just to make sure that is in fact the right spot, based on how we use the parking lot. And so I would reserve the right to just think about that a little bit longer.
So a question to Wade would be then if for some reason they wanted to move it down 25, 30, 40, 50 feet, is there a big expense to that from your end of it?
There would be a marginal cost increase, but within a reasonable distance, it shouldn't be an
Great.
issue. If it were, a mile down the road, that would be a problem. But
Sure.
25, 30 feet shouldn't make much difference to us.
I mean, in reality, again, being close to the transformer and being easily accessible for the public are both important characteristics. So.
My question was, does this one require, does it need like, protections around it, like the one at the, power company? Does it need a concrete pad and a ballast?
We haven't decided on a charger model yet, so it's gonna depend on exactly what we get. Some of them, mount on a pole, some of them do sit on a concrete pad, but we're mostly looking at smaller chargers that would mount on a post.
Or like a pedestal here?
Yeah.
This one.
The charger at the power company weighs like 2,000 pounds. This is a you know a unit that's sort of yay big that would mount something like that.
Layman's term, this is just an extension cord, that unit over there.
It is basically an extension cord with an on-off switch that'll take your money. That's really all it is.
Ken?
I guess with that,
Yeah, we're planning on a double-headed charge, which means it'll be 2 units, so 2 cars could charge at the same time.
So there'll be only one unit charger, but there'll be 2 plugs off it.
There'll
Or
be
is it-
like a head on one side, maybe probably if we can get a head on the back side, that would be the best thing if we can do that.
So
There's
we're
some that
talking-
come with 2 cables, but we may have to go with a double head, 2 units back to back. We have to investigate
Sure.
that stuff.
Chris?
Just 2 quick questions. One would be,
Yeah.
what would be the
Chris, can you use a microphone, please?
town's liability if anything went wrong with the vehicle that was being charged? And the other question is, has anyone talked to the fire department or given any thought? I don't know if you've ever seen a video, what happens when
Yeah.
a battery catches on, but basically it can't be put out. It's next to impossible. So distance from a transformer or building would be one thing, but maybe the fire department would have some input on whether it should be on a pad or, you know, because I don't know how they'd fight it, but I think it's going to be,
I had assumed that would be part of the due diligence we're gonna give Amy.
I don't know. I've just.
And I think that reinforces across the lot, as opposed to even someone using it at their house. So I think that's even more to the point that I think if the location area that they had pointed out would, actually, supports that concept.
And regarding the liability, that question will be brought up presumably.
That's why I say that we'll
Yeah.
likely need to draft an MOA that does all the
Yep.
indemnifications, et
Yep.
cetera.
Yeah, and they, in here, they say that they'll carry their insurance.
Yep.
And I'm sure Amy will do the due diligence of making sure that, you know, it meets the standards that we.
Any other questions? Can I have a motion to direct the town manager to work with the solar initiative to develop an MOA to permit the installation of level 2 EV charging station at the town hall parking lot?
And I'd like, can we add to that, Keith, just the 2 things they agreed to, the annual finance and the biannual thing taken care of from that.
Right,
Yeah.
the
And
note
don't,
to
go-
stay-
don't go into town hall.
Yeah,
side.
don't go.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You wanted to add 2 items?
Yeah, the 2 items in there, one would be the annual reporting financial to the town. And the second was the issue, Jamie.
Signage prohibiting.
Not the sign, well, I guess it'd be 3. The second one was the biannual, as it says in here, and clear, so it's annual. And then the third would be that there's some type of signage that the town manager can approve, you know, clarifying who to contact if there's a problem with the machine.
Got that, Millie? Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's two annual. There's one about the financial report. It said, originally it said every other, the second year, that would be reported the first year. Okay, and the other was, you had
I had that we were gonna meet biannually to
Right.
discuss, and so we're gonna meet annually to discuss. It's on the first page.
Okay, fine.
It's under one.
if it's updated, then that doesn't need to be addressed.
Says the project would run through 26 to 30 with an annual assessment instead of
Great.
biennial to determine if it's a viable project for the town.
And that was corrected, so
Yes, thank you.
it's all set.
Got that, Molly? Motion's been made second. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Excited about this. Good for you. Next is discuss and act on 2026, 2027 hunting dates. So this is Millie, basically a reflection of what we have now. Or sort of a, putting it on the next calendar.
And I'm reading this A is for archery.
A is for archery.
Shotgun.
Yep, archery, and then archery muzzle shotgun. And P is pheasant.
So I know we discussed this last year. Some of the pheasant days are deer days. Why aren't they all, or can we change it?
There is no requirement that the pheasant days be standalone. It's just been the past
Tradition.
practice.
Yeah. I think we can change it.
I mean, we do, in January, we have it overlapping.
Can we maybe hear from the chief as to, from a safety standpoint of view, if there's any? I'm not a hunter, so I don't.
Yeah, thank you, Bill.
No, they've run them concurrently for the last couple of years in January, and we haven't had any issues. There's only a couple people that pheasant hunt out here anymore. Years ago, when we used to have a lot of people coming from the mainland it was created more of a safety issue. But, as I said, the last couple of years, we've had them in January and we haven't had any problems.
Chief, while you're here, one question up to follow that, what Chris brought up earlier. Usually the hunters have to check in with any properties they're hunting on. I was unaware. That's not the case with the state land, the Rutland?
It's not. We get a list of who's on it for each week, but they don't have to come and check in.
I'm sorry.
So you get a list of the people who won the lottery spots.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And how many people are on that list usually?
I think they put, 3 or 4 each week. That it's limited. It's very limited to how many there are here.
But one hunter may not know another hunter's on there, or how does that work?
That I don't know. The DEM handles all of that part of it, so we don't really have much say in that.
Why is that property exempt when, as opposed to the rest of the hunter regulation we have?
That is something that past town managers and councils came up with DEM when they began to establish that hunt years ago.
Are you comfortable with that from a safety standpoint of view?
What's that?
Are you comfortable with that from a safety standpoint of view?
I would like to, for me personally, I would like to know who's in there, then we get that list from DEM. For the most part, most everybody knows where they're supposed to be. And for the most part, everybody goes where they're supposed to be. Having them actually check in with us first, as Chris had said, honestly, is really not that bad of an idea. Excuse me. They're given the map by DEM. They're given where they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to do and not supposed to do. But I think having them check in wouldn't be a bad thing.
So I know we're probably getting off the track, what we have in the agenda here, but what would be the timing of, how would we put that in place? Is that something?
They don't do the lottery. I think they do. Chris, you know more of this than I do. I think they do the lotteries in like August or something, because I've never applied for it. Isn't it somewhere in August or September that they actually?
They close September 15th. Don't apply if you're from Block Island because you'll never get picked, but they have 6 hunters in each week in 4 weeks. they don't know each other. They're just, you know, there's
Mhm.
some from Maine, some from New Hampshire, some from Connecticut this week. And those 6 hunters came in and got permission to hunt on the town land, which I find kind of laughable. Because Plat 20, Lot 20, all of a sudden has 6 guys from the mainland that won a lottery that none of us can hunt on. Which irks me a little bit. We'll leave that alone, but I think that I counted 15, talking about the pheasant hunting, I counted 15 guys from the mainland over here this year, pheasant hunting. And I think it's high time that they all checked in at the police station. And I'm not going to mention any names, but there was one guy over here that was arrested for domestic assault on Block Island and shouldn't even be carrying a shotgun. It was over here wandering around hunting. 2 guys hunting behind the Samuel D. Mott property. Sam and Eleanor Mott's house across Narragansett. They were actually hunting in that lot. I mean, this isn't 25 years ago. I mean, it's just really, and you don't know who they are and you don't know where they are.
Amy,
So-
can we put that on our list? Great, thank you. Because
I don't think it's too much to ask to have the
No, I
people
don't
that come
either.
out here to just have a file at the police
Yeah.
station like I have to. I've
Sure.
been here all my life. And
Yep.
as far as the pheasant hunting being concurrent, the only thing I'd like to say is the reason it's always been January where it's been concurrent is because by January, all the leaves are off the trees. There's no more green. Sometimes in November, with the right weather, it gets a little dicey to see a dog or to see a person because the brush now is really getting out of control. So, I would like to see the separate, except for that one day in January. You've got a week here in December. From the 21st, Christmas is on the 25th this year. Why not just put a couple of days in that week of deer hunting to make up for, you're only talking about a couple of pheasant days. I mean, I just don't see, I'd rather go for safety than, I don't think it's going to make that much difference, honestly.
So you're saying rather than having deer hunting on the 2nd and the 16th, add deer hunting on the 21st and 22nd?
Yeah, why not? It's an empty week. I mean, duck season is already open. That's already,
In session, we don't know.
pheasant days
Yeah,
here.
then that's what I wanted to look at. I would just look at the, school vacation for Christmas, because I know that.
Oh, I don't-
Really puts all this together.
Okay.
She typically mimics from year to year what our vacations are and tailors it around that. So I would just, if somebody can pull up the school calendar.
They don't have it
Don't have it posted
prepared
yet?
yet. No, I did check in with Laura Brunig
Okay.
and she said that they won't be getting the recommendation from the ride. I guess.
Yeah, right.
But traditionally, they've taken the Wednesday, the 20th, well, would be
Yeah.
the 23rd of Christmas Eve. So that Monday, Tuesday, more than likely will be school days.
Right,
And then Wednesday would
And
either be
then-
no school or early dismissal,
right.
that's, and that's Christmas Eve.
And actually, I
Yeah.
filled in at the school this year and they had school on the 23rd.
Right.
So,
So the Monday, Tuesday,
Hmm.
odds are pretty good. You're gonna have
Right.
school on those 2 days.
So you could add.
So we're
those-
saying
you
add
could add, you could add those.
deer
two.
hunting on the 21st and 22nd. Can we cancel that if they suddenly have no school that day or no?
It's, once you post it and it gets approved by DEM, then they post it and it's, all but impossible to take that back.
So in that case, I would say we just do the opposite. If we schedule it for the 21st and 22nd, we notify the school
Right.
that we've done that. If they haven't set their schedule, now they can set their schedule around that.
And then I agree with you on that, Molly. The other thing is, you talked about in January, you're not as concerned about the pheasant hunting and the,
The deer being concurrent,
yeah, because the foliage and so forth is off. the
everything's
trees.
dead, everything's, you
So
know,
why would that not be the case for December 2nd and 16th if the foliage is off?
the way the weather's been, you know, in years past. I mean, this year is a little unusual, but it's not unusual for it to be light. I mean, if you're out there hunting, you'd see it. But, you know, a couple of really windy, cold storms and a lot of the leaves come off, but a lot of the foliage just isn't dead like it used to be in December and especially November. I don't know. I just, you know, I'm one of the last, I still like to hunt pheasants, but I cringe a little bit on the deer hunting days. And quite honestly, I don't think you're going to have to worry about deer next year because as of today, I think there've been 111 reimbursed for. And this deer herd is crushed. And I mean crushed. There's not much left. So I think next year it's going to be a lot of wasted up.
I would make a motion to keep the dates that we've been presented today without any changes. The one concurrence in January, but then I'd like to have more discussion about this management agreement and a check-in for all hunters on Block Island, which we could still post these, and then that could be a requirement by next season, hopefully.
For the, I mean, for them to check in. at the
For
police.
them to check in
Yeah.
on the Black Rock.
I think it's a reasonable request and if you would handle that, Amy,
Yes.
thank you.
I would like to add the 21st and 22nd.
Oh, I thought we did.
Oh, we did?
No,
Should we didn't make it?
Yeah, that's why.
So Tristan made a
I-
motion.
I did make a motion, but it was not adding December.
can I, since you hunt, Tristan, is your concern that school might be in?
Yeah, no, that school would be out.
I mean, school would be out.
The possibility.
Yeah, you know, following traditional with the school, they have that following week off. To take the 2 weeks off, you know, I think it's a real stretch for that to happen. Yeah, you're talking, they would be out of school from the 20th until the 4th, you know, if it was one day, I might say, because it overlapped on the weekend, but, I feel pretty confident that they'll be in school on the 21st and 22nd. I hate to lose 2 days, you know, from that end of it. If I thought they were gonna be out, I'd agree 100%, but.
But if that makes you squeamish, then I would suggest we double up on the pheasant days,
Yeah.
the 2nd and the 16th.
Instead of the 21st and 22nd,
I'd do all of them myself, but
how do you feel about that on the pheasant days, doubling that up on the 2nd and the 16th?
I don't think it's a good idea because I think every year I saw a lot of mainland pheasant hunters this year. I'm opposed to that idea.
Okay. I mean, I don't hunt, you know what I mean? So I'm relying on the people that do hunt for this, for what's out there from that end of it, you know? Although on the same token, I'd like to have as many days as we can also with it. So I think that,
all right, so Tristan made a motion to accept the schedule that we have before us. With the clear statement that we would like off-island hunters to who participate in that lottery to check in. I would like to add the 21st and 22nd. But we have a motion on the table. Unless you're willing to,
Do you want to amend that motion?
do you want to amend that motion?
You-
You guys are saying I'm wrong. School's gonna be in session. We're pretty solid on this.
Yes.
yeah,
Okay, I can amend the motion
Okay,
and
great.
add December to gain a couple of days to December 21st and 22nd in December.
Is there a second?
And then I'll just add, for any reason that school is out, that there's a notification process made in the school. How's that?
Yeah, that's fair.
definitely.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Keith?
Are you gonna stay on this subject now? I was.
We're almost done.
On item 5, so I don't want to confuse.
We're on item 5.
So soon? Holy mackerel.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing.
Okay, well, if I could just explain something, because we have some property that borders this land that the state grants to, for off-island hunters. So there's a couple of lots that border that, and we have set those aside as nature sanctuary. But at the same time, I understand the town's problems. I don't hunt personally, although I do like meat. So, but I don't hunt. But for the sake of the town, when we transferred those two lots to the Nature Conservancy, we held back the right to allow hunting by people that we would choose. We would
Mhm.
sign for their ability to hunt.
Right.
And we've done that with, I don't know, a dozen islanders and several off-islanders, some commercial fishermen from Point Judith, Jim Manny, people like that. So, and that's worked well, and they've really been good about honoring the concerns that we would have. When I first proposed it, we had neighbors that didn't want to allow hunting up there. But we were able to convince them, but I do feel an obligation to them, to those neighbors, to do it in a manner where they can
Mhm.
accept that. But the islanders have been great. But now there's, today with these off-islanders up there, I saw there were a couple of trucks parked there, and they're up there hunting and don't have permission to hunt either from me or from the town, apparently. It's troubling. I see them walking through the lots, so whether they're doing it on our nature's sanctuary or whether they're just walking through to what the DEM has allowed. It's troubling either. way.
Paul, what should Keith do in that kind of situation?
Just call us right away.
I normally would. I have a lot of faith in.
Because
the police department.
we need to encounter them then, not a day or two later. I can have a conversation with them a day or two later and say, you're not supposed to be here. This is where you're supposed to be. That's part of the check-in that would work better.
Right.
If they had to come and
Right.
check in, because we could let them know, you cannot be over here.
Right.
Here's your access points, here and here. Because I think what they're looking at is probably Onyx, it's a
Yep,
hunting app that I
yep.
use. And they're probably looking at, over down that driveway and they're thinking they can just go and park there, cut across the lot to get into Black Rock instead of walking all the way from Coonabus. So, having the check-in
Right.
would probably eliminate that problem. And if there are people that are there, Keith, that are not supposed to be there, please call us right away.
Well, I didn't see the people. I saw the vehicles.
Right,
What is-
even the vehicle,
Oh,
and that way
okay.
there, because I can go and I can run the license plates and then
Oh.
I know who's there.
It's Connecticut plates.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, but allowing it, I think it helps the town, that was the reason that we agreed to do it in the beginning. In fact, I wish I had thought it earlier in our transfer of property to the Conservancy, because I would have adopted the idea then. It was only to the last two, which is maybe 23 acres. But there's a lot of good that comes out of it for the town. But also, a lot of those deer are sent up to a organization in Providence with refugees, Southeast Asian refugees. And the woman that runs it, Shanavi, we met her through Tom Hoban, because they had worked together in relief. And she grew up in that whole Cambodian situation. And when she was 8 years old, she saw her father get executed and her siblings, her brothers. And she was only 8. Somehow she got separated from her mother. And this is how this woman grew up. And so there were just us with Tom. And so it was a dinner. And to be with her just with such a small group, she felt the right or the ability to talk about it and talk about what she went through as an 8-year-old in Cambodia. And the hunters, many of the Chris and Kirk, just deliver meat to that organization, and they're very, very grateful. And it's just nice to see Block Island doing a charitable act like that. Too many people think of Block Island as just a place to make money, but this is a wonderful example of charity.
Indeed.
So I just wanted to explain that to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith. And will you please call?
Oh, I have a good relationship.
No, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, but,
Not about your relationship. I mean,
No, but,
because the timing is obviously important.
yeah,
So we're not playing
No.
catch up with those guys. Thank you. Thank you, Keith. We have a motion made and seconded on the table. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
All right.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. All right, 6, Amy or Mona?
Take that.
Great.
That's regarding two prior bond authorizations that we made at prior financial town meetings.
Mm-hmm.
It's just formalizing that they have, they're getting closer to meeting the bonds.
Are both of these authorizing motions for the same group of bonds?
Two are, so 2 million is from the housing board and the 2 million from the town. The 2 million from the town that we authorized just this last financial town meeting.
Right. So the 2 million from the housing board is financed by their revenue?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that.
No, this is just going to be through their tax revenue, separate from any grant programs. And that was authorized in 2021
Gotcha.
at financial town meeting.
So will these be drawn down once
Yes.
we sign? They will.
And that's why, well, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes, likely. But we need to have that authorization in place as they get ready to take those drawdowns.
So the one is, the one is going to be, we'll see that a tax effect immediately this year, right, on the one, but the other you said is not, is they're drawing down from their funds?
Correct. Mona, is it okay if I?
Yes. please.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yep. So the, both related to the same project, but yes, 2 million is going to be repaid through the housing board's tax
Yep.
or from any other revenue they may generate from the sale of units that can also be used to repay those loan funds. And that's something that will be worked out as they continue to finalize their program, exactly what the timing and duration of these borrowings are. Because if they can repay theirs from sale proceeds, obviously we don't need to hold it for 20 years. The town's contribution will be repaid from tax funds.
This year.
It probably won't come online in the budgetary impact until fiscal year 28,
Okay.
because it hasn't been issued yet. So it'll take some time for us to issue it and then for the debt service to flow through. So it probably won't have a budgetary impact on people's tax bills until 2028.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Anything further, Mona? Molly?
I just have a quick question about the housing tax, that 1% tax. Has that been remitted by people yet, or is that still in process?
No. Yeah, no, it's still in process. The letters just went out at the beginning, or really last week, 2 weeks ago. And we did narrow the mailing down to just the registrants for the short-term rentals. After doing due diligence on, actually, I'll say the land use department has done some very good due diligence on searching, average local ads, Airbnbs, et cetera. And then we were able to marry the two lists, determine who was paying what and not paying the other. And so I think we've done a pretty thorough.
Wow,
process.
that's great.
That's great.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Thank you. So can we have a motion to authorize the issuance of general obligation bonds to finance operational expenses of the Block Island Housing Board not to exceed $2 million? Is there a second? I'll second it. Any discussion? Not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. I have a motion to authorize the issuance of general obligation bonds to finance the planning, design, construction, development, furnishing and finishing, that's a tongue twister, and finishing of a housing program of approximately 16 units on Plat 18. Is that the language from the FTM? Lot 2-3 by the Block Island Housing Board, in parens, the Block Island, excuse me, the Paul O'Brien project. Is there a second? Any further discussion? Not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. All right, item 7.
So this is
Go ahead, Amy.
pretty straightforward. We did issue an RFP for beach concessions. We received one response from our current provider, 4J Seafood, which is Rebecca's. I believe you have in your packets the schedule of contributions for each year. It's a 5-year proposed program with some opportunities for extension, starting at 20,000 in the first year and escalating up to 23,000 in the last 2 years. The proposed contract is attached as well, which we did tweak a fair amount, but only to reflect reality. The existing documentation didn't necessarily support the hours and the operations that are in place today. So I think both parties are pretty happy with it.
Great.
Amy, I have one question, not that it changes anything.
Yep.
Why is it that gas has never been separated out? Because the propane, I would imagine is consumed quite a bit with a concession stand.
It is, but it's also the way that it's wired, connected into the building, that it supports both the kitchen and the showers. And it's just never been cost effective to redo that connection in order to put 2 separate services in. Yes, might be cleaner to have it separate, and it's always been like this and has worked.
Is there a way to meter it beyond the,
I think the answer is that it's not cost effective, given that it's worked fairly well over time.
I mean, it doesn't change anything, but I was just
Yeah.
curious.
It's always been slightly awkward, and yet it has worked.
Right.
So
We may be taking care of that. Any other questions? Not gonna have a motion to approve the bid award to operate the food and beverage concession at Fred Benson Town Beach to 4J's Seafood, Rebecca's. The agreement is from May 1st, 2026 to December 1st, 2030. Second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Amy, your report.
just a few things I want to call your attention to. The first is a reminder that this Friday at 2:00, the AARP will be kicking off the Age-Friendly Livable Communities Initiative for anyone who would like to attend. In harbors, 2 things. The office will be closed the week of February 1 through 5. Both Kate and Katie are attending a conference, which has proven to be very instructive for Kate. Katie will be joining her this year.
Great.
They did apply for grants for that. We're waiting to hear whether they're awarded, but
Good.
that would be great. And they're also spending a fair amount of time on dredging in Old Harbor, which has been problematic, but also challenging to solve right now. They've had some traction with Army Corps about extending the dredge window, and Army Corps has so far been facilitating those conversations back to CRMC and DEM. So we're mildly optimistic in a way that we haven't necessarily been about the ability to do potentially some dredging outside of that January 1 deadline, which would be huge, because then even when we do the work, we have a couple months where it just continues to fill back in. So it's frustrating now to look at, to know that we've got all that fill that we don't have a plan right now to remove. But if we can, in the long term, get that window extended, that would really make a difference in future years. So
Interesting.
a lot in flux there.
So oddly, this is something I've been getting a lot of questions about from people. And one of the bigger questions is, where is the dredge material going to go? Or is there no plan for that? Is it not specified yet?
So when the town has dredged Old Harbor, particularly around the old bait dock, that material has gone to the area across from the beachhead. And we're pretty comfortable with that. That's very silty sand, great material to put right on the beach. And that's accounted for in the CRMC permit. You may have people asking a different question because there's a separate non-town dredge that is maybe happening
Yeah.
for Ballards. So that's not a town project, that is their project. Their CRMC Ascent does allow them to take that material again to the East Beach. We've been in very close contact with them. It first gets pulled out and put where the building used to be. You've seen that temporary move, and does its drainage there. That gives the town a chance to look at that material and make sure that it meets our standards for placement on the beach. If it does not, we do have agreement with the owners, and again, there's room in their permit to have that material then barged up to East Providence and deposited there. So we've been working with them about when their dredge actually happens, and that Mike Shea and a few others will be evaluating that material to make sure it's high enough quality to put on the beach
How do they evaluate that, Amy?
visually. And so even it's met all the testing requirements. So let me say that first. It has met all the testing requirements that are set forth in the permit.
You mean, so there's been like a core sample tested? taken?
Exactly.
This is a matter of
This
just a
isn't a-
bicycle or
and
stuff
it-
like that type of thing?
This is an additional layer
Okay.
because we all are a little concerned about what could come up.
Sure.
And, some agreement about knowing that that top layer may be particularly dirty, setting that aside. And if that is the case, we'll look at the second layer, see if that's acceptable. So it's a little bit of an iterative process, but they've been very open to that back and forth.
And so this gets taken to, you say these whereabouts are we talking about? That the sand, where would it, say it was clean and it was fine at that point? Where and how does it get?
Sure. And the original plan was for, this permit is a couple years old at this point, was for those materials to be taken to the beach parking lot. I don't remember now if it was the north or the south, but, and deposited there. That didn't necessarily make sense from a process standpoint. It's a lot of touching of that material. And so the current plan would have it moved directly from, once it's dewatered, directly to the beach and trucked onto the beach through the gapway across from the beachhead and deposited and spread in that area. And the contractors involved are ready and prepared to do that if that's the route that we go. Again, putting it right in the beach parking lot didn't really make sense to anyone in terms of a storage spot.
I mean, Keith and I were down there today. The buildup of sand as it is already is problematic, on this and so forth. So that would seem to make more sense than down by the beachhead. Would you agree, Keith?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a dumb question, but I would think obviously if the material from under the private dock is barged upstate, we're not paying for that, right?
That's not our project.
That's not our project. They pay for that. Just to clarify. All right. Thanks.
And is there a yard price for this material coming out of the private property for the town? If it's clean and is approved,
There's not.
so the contractor is taking care of all that. They're just filling it.
They are just, we have agreed to accept that material on the beach.
No cost.
That's not a lot that they're dredging over there. I don't believe
It is not a lot.
No.
Um,
And it's been dredged there before,
yes.
I believe. So we're not talking about what's being taken out was filled in the last, whatever, X amount of years.
Exactly. I believe the first time it went across the street to the land trust property there.
Right.
Where the Sylvegan was. Just a reminder for the public that may not know, the council and the planning board will meet at the February 4th work session to talk about proposed ordinances for ADUs and outdoor lighting.
Good.
And then the final thing I wanted to call your attention to was just an update on the Rural Health Transformation Grant,
Yes.
which has a little bit of delays in its execution. The state of Rhode Island needs to resubmit their budget program to the feds, which means that we're not seeing right now subaward agreements or any funding flowing through. Doesn't mean that's not going to happen. It's just got a little bit of a delay that I think is running about 75 days before we see the next step.
Do we know how much we've been awarded?
No.
That February 4th meeting, is that a work session that they're meeting with us at?
Yes.
Okay, I will not be at that meeting, but, I have some issues I'd like raised. Maybe I can touch base on them.
Sure.
Yeah. Shoot
Thank
them
you.
to us.
There's no, that's just informational. There's no vote that will be taken, right?
There's no action. It's not even, we haven't even set a public hearing date. It's meant to be informational and
Right.
background context.
Thank you.
I just had two things, one general, one specific. Generally, I think it's important to call out as you look through this what a robust amount of work our departments are doing. It's really impressive, and it's not just plotting with a D. It's moving forward. So please extend that to the department heads. And the other is more specific, and you know, I wish he were here, but Bill and I went to the meeting about coastal resiliency today, and I was struck once again by how fortunate we are to have uh, Mike Shea, because I thought he was incredible. Came up with a couple of very simple, pragmatic ideas that were just so helpful and so smart. And I wanted to say that publicly, that he's just terrific. He was good today. Thank you.
I have one on the Public Works Road Department. Are we staffed? Are we at full staff down there?
We are not at full staff on purpose, meaning we're not actively recruiting anyone at the moment because they want to make sure that we're going to continue our relationship with the state DOT before bringing somebody on that we may then have to lay off. So we're going to give it a little more time. If that seems like it's going to stay in place, then they likely will advertise again.
So, and I guess this is just kind of leaning towards this possible snow event. So if we happen to get buried, we go outside contractor. That.
Yes. And given that we are short-staffed and we have some new staff, we would appreciate everyone's patience and understanding and giving them time and space to do the clearing they need to.
Have we been going outside?
I don't believe we have yet. I believe they've done everything in-house.
And I guess going with that too, with the, all the service trucks at the boat on the weekend, I guess if this does happen, can we do it again? I mean, it is the middle of winter, but the last snow event, people left their cars in the middle of town, which is a nuisance for the proof.
I can certainly have a conversation about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have, significant
It's a really
snow
good
event,
thought.
kind of good place to park.
Yeah.
I just want to say too that I know he made a note in here about the new sidewalk clearing machine, but I live on a pretty busy road where the school is, and that sidewalk was cleared really quick, like really early. By the time I went down the hill for the 8:15 boat, like the road was beautiful, the sidewalk was totally cleared, children were not walking in the road.
Good.
It was really nice.
I know that was a challenge last year, so I'm glad to hear that.
It was a big challenge last year.
We got a new machine, baby.
Yeah.
Well, they said it was 30 minutes. They were able to do
Yeah.
which is impressive.
Yeah.
And I like there's sometimes I realize sometimes it's the business responsibility and so forth, but the reality of it is, if we can get it cleared, we can get it cleared, especially for the amount of snow that we actually end up with. I think it's money and time well spent.
Well, the towns, the High Street section alone, there's a lot of kids that go up and down there, and staff to the school.
I'm amazed at how many people you'll see also down West Side Road from, whether it be from the, Ball
Yes.
Housing, whatever, walking on down.
Yes.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah. It is.
And that was cleared also.
Is that it? Thank you, Mona.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, so the financials look a little different this month. And this is kind of just a proposed formatting with my thoughts around kind of removing some of the historical data, looking at where we are currently, and making having a practice of each quarter logging some notes that highlight why it could really be anything. Maybe maybe it's not clear what kind of expense would usually hit this account line to you or the general public. So something like that, or it could also be explain why a line is so high or how it's tracking or things like that. Just kind of notes / comments that by the end, the last quarter, we kind of have a comprehensive picture. We'll have all those notes all together, and we'll have a bigger picture of what we're looking at when we're at the year end. So that's something that I do myself, and I wanted to see if you would consider having a report like this each quarter. The other months we'll do our regular financials as you're used to seeing them. You can see our summary page is the same. Nothing's changed there. It's really about looking at each department. And I also thought it would be a way for when the council has questions, I can take note and come back with answers that I'll respond to, the latest, the next meeting, but then I would also continue with that answer if it seemed like it was material.
So are you talking about maybe like switching it out to like a little bit like we did at financial town meeting?
I'm just saying, like, you see how these financials here, we are only looking at the current, the current period. We don't have any of the historical data there. And then we've got the section for notes. And if you flip through, like, for instance, on page 2, taxes, we see that the interest, property taxes, property and auto taxes interest, we've already exceeded what we've budgeted for. And I just kind of wanted to point to what that is. That helps us understand how that's going to track. Like, we will still be taking in interest. So we do expect to exceed this number even further than we have now. And it also helps us when we're looking in future years and we're looking at historical data to understand why that number was so big, tracking to other years. It would be, I'm thinking it would be just like this each quarter, the meeting that is for, so for the next one would be in April, that would be through March. And I would include I would plan to keep these notes here so that we have a running log, and at the end of the year, we have a full, is this where we note anything unusual or just that doesn't make sense logically when you look at what the line is called, or some of the lines you don't know what makes it up. So we can go through the financials now and just look at them, and you can decide if you like this. For me, like I said, it helps me keep track of where things are at and why.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, great. Good. I mean, you can continue to let me know, and I want to be able to, if you see something that looks like you'd like more information, let me know, and I can add it here.
I really like the notes column.
Mhm.
When I was looking through this week, the notes column I think is very helpful.
Do you think keep the notes and add to them? Because I was kind of thinking to make it cumulative. Or do we have only distinct notes?
I guess my answer to that would be, let's see how cluttered it gets.
Okay, let's start with that. Just know we can always change it,
The one thing I will say is I'm glad that we are still going to do monthly with the historical data.
Yeah.
Because simplistic Keith J. Stover likes to look at month to date actual this year, month to date actual.
Absolutely, no.
I mean, that's a useful tool for me to kind of, because I'm very much, how are we doing?
Right. Yep, I get it.
And that's just a helpful shorthand way to do it. So I don't want to do away with that at all. But I do love the idea of the notes and tracking the notes, because Truthfully, even after whatever it is, however many years, 5 years, I still don't know what every line item is. I still have to ask. So, and it's usually the same ones, and it happens to be most of the ones that have notes.
Okay. Good. And so if you have the questions, and so does the general public, and it'd be
Yes.
great to
Yeah.
have that information for them.
Yes.
Right, I think that's, like, it's useful for us, right? But if somebody from the public is looking at this on Clerkbase, it does explain, especially if you have like a,
Mhm.
you know, a lot of the money comes in not in a regular 12-month cycle.
Right.
So it would be great to think that like a gigantic amount of money is going to come in every month you're going to explain, you're explaining that.
Right. So if you don't mind, I'll just go through it briefly because the notes are there. I don't want to take up too much of your time. We already talked about the tax revenue page. Overall, we're in a good place. We're exactly where we expect to be. We've got revenues are strong, expenses are right around 50%. So that feels good. We've got the explanation as to why we've exceeded our interest revenue for taxes. And then, the next note on other town fees and income is we see we're higher than expected. And it's not really material, but I feel like it's notable because the North Light fees, it is the first time that we were open for a full year, a full season since
Mhm.
before COVID. We see reflected here our landing fees, that increase, which obviously we'll see continue to grow throughout the year. The next page of page 5, which is still on other town fees and income, we've got our visitor center rent. We know that that's offset. We show a 10,000 that's due there, and we're never going to see that filled. There's never going to be a year-to-date actual there because we offset that with their support on the community support page. And then I think one thing to note, I'm not going to go through each note, but feel free to, ask me anything. So the Thomas property rent, we're not going to make what we budgeted because we didn't get people in there right away. And so I'm expecting it to be right around $73,000 at year end. You could. Mhm. Yeah, well, the private is what is collected by the harbor master.
Like in the town mooring field.
Sorry. Yeah, we need to.
And I think Kate has switched that up and they're asking how many people on the boat when we collected at the
Right.
fee. Great.
That's great. Yeah. The market's been pretty strong for the investments that we have. So we've exceeded that budgeted line, which is nice to see and will help us in other areas where we may not meet the mark in expenses. And then state aid on page 6. J-
Can you go back?
Mhm.
On the negotiated settlement, that's that opioid
Yeah,
settlement, no. That's,
there's a couple different opioid settlements that we get.
they're restricted, weren't they, or something on?
Are they restricted?
Yes, they are restricted. And so we have now accumulated a couple of years of settlements that are just sort of sitting there restricted. It's on the long-term list to reach back out to what used to be sort of an opioid settlement task force that was formed at the state level to represent municipalities and coordinate implementation. But I haven't heard much from them in about 2 years. So we need to reach back out and
So
see.
how
what
much
they're doing.
money would you say that we have that's between what's here or what's in, I call it escrow, I don't know what you would call it, but.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I can look while you guys continue to talk.
And that money, and so we just haven't been authorized to do something, or we haven't presented, I mean, why haven't we done anything with the money?
We haven't established programs that meet the criteria because we had been, from the initial settlement time, waiting for this task force to bring forward recommendations to the municipalities about how they could, in a coordinated effort, deploy these funds in a way that met the criteria. Those recommendations didn't really come out or have not yet. And so I don't have a good status on.
So for example, multiple towns might buy a large supply of Narcan at a significant discount.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And that hasn't come forward yet.
Gotcha.
So that's a guidance on spending the
Yeah.
funds.
Yep. Sometimes, yeah, we were expecting both guidance and actual program implementation that we could contribute to.
We may need EpiPens, so.
That's not going to be eligible.
That was a stretch.
So on page 6, you'll see where we have reflected our hotel and meal tax. Right now, it's still reflecting the old rate for the increases that we expect to see on the housing-related taxes or the hotel-related taxes. So that takes effect this month, but we're not going to see it until the March financials because
Mhm.
obviously the state needs time to collect it and then send it over.
Can you, Mona, can you, for the 469th time, for me, explain what the new tax is going to look like?
I can certainly try. So you've got your 1% hotel tax. So you go to a
Yep.
hotel and you're going to pay your 1% hotel tax. And then also your sales tax.
Yeah.
And then a 5% state hotel tax. What the town gets from that, we get all of the 1% local hotel tax. We get 25% of the 5% of state hotel tax. And sales doesn't come into the picture for us, the sales tax that the state collects. So effective this month, what's changing is that local tax changes to 2% for both hotel and then also whole house rentals.
Wow.
So that, where you have your
Okay.
notes down here, that one will become a 2.
Correct.
That'll be 2%. And then on the 25% of the 25% of the 5, that will stay the same.
The difference there, it stays the same for hotels, but it'll now be also applied to the house rentals. Whereas before, the only thing house rentals paid was the 1%. I'm not sure if they paid sales tax or not, but we didn't get anything further.
But in terms of what we're going to get 25% of a new 5% state tax
On house.
on house rentals.
Yes. And then we're going to get an extra 1% on both hotel and house rentals. Before we just got 1%
Now we
on hotel in-house, and now we get 2%.
it's double.
Now, is this on top of the 1% housing fee that we charge locally? The housing board charges 1% on rentals. Is that included in this or that's added on top of it? Did I have that wrong?
It's separate. Yeah. It's
So, but the fact is we still get 1% more from the house rentals.
Yes.
Separately from the-
Yes, but not shown in these numbers.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And where will that number show? Farther down?
that would be the housing board. That's the housing board tax that is going to support the bond that we hope, will contribute to that.
So it's accounted for in a separate fund specific to the housing board. They get those financials at their monthly meetings. It's not something that we account for in the general fund.
But we account for it somewhere.
It's,
don't we?
We
it's
account-
solicited by the town and remitted by the homeowner who is renting their house. It doesn't go through the state.
No, I understand, but I think you know.
It's not accounted for in the general fund. It's a revenue for the housing board. So
Oh, I see, because they have
It's a
control of it.
Separate.
it's in the housing board financials. It does get
Understand.
aggregated up into our audit, but it's not something that's under the purview of the council.
Understand.
And I'm going to try to create a graphic just with these taxes, just visually, make it easier to.
Actually, your notes help out quite a bit here.
Yeah.
So-
Good. When it gets late and I start looking at them too long, it starts to get all jumbled, but yes, good. Yeah, we've got I just wanted to point out what state aid building is because this state aid, it's hard to know for the average person reading the financials, they might not know what this is, and what we're receiving it for. But we do get reimbursements right now for the software that was mandated by the state, which would be OpenGov, that handles our building permits and our clerks, permitting.
So do we have just a ballpark idea with these increases going from the 1% to the 2%, the difference that we'll be receiving in revenue this year from last year? And I realize it's a general guess.
Off the top of my head, I want to say a couple 100,000, but I don't remember the exact figure of.
Just because I was able to do the math while you
Yeah.
were talking.
Yeah.
So, in the current year, fiscal year 26, we're looking at, this is the state aid revised projections. So they're calling for us to bring in about 355,000 of additional revenue on the hotel tax bucket. And then an additional 513,000 in fiscal year 27, based on the new programs. For a total of, bear with me,
Good.
about 1.78 million in hotel and whole home rental taxes by the end of 27
Gross,
gross.
but the net increase is about $500,000.
It's
Six.
about 800,000 total.
That's a substantial number,
Mm-hmm.
It is.
coupled with the, increase in landing fee. On top of that, that's another 152, whatever, so. Good.
We've got a donation. If you go to page 7, our grant revenue page, we don't usually pay too much attention to this because of timing of grant revenue. So it's hard to budget for, but we did get that $16,000 grant, which helped offset the mini grant expenses. And
Thank
those
you, Young.
those were issued in December. On page 8, you see the transfers in. I just wanted to note that because that's kind of a funny thing. What the heck is it? What is that number? So that's like why I wanted to note that that's where we're going to see the landing fees, even though we have this other line that says landing fees. That's kind of a holding spot. Per auditing standards require us to call it transfers in and not account for it on that particular ledger line. So that's why I wanted to note it. And then the reimbursement of the interest for the land trust bond. Turn to page 10. We've heard this note before. This is just other general administration and our insurance. And we're close to exceeding that line. I expect we'll go slightly over it, but not by too much because we've paid for the bulk of the expense which is the workers' comp insurance and property and liability paid for the whole year.
Are those changes usually because of claims or is it do they do it like an annual review? Is it both?
In my experience, it's more to do with the cost of the policies, not individual claims based. That will have small fluctuations, but these bills are, a couple $100,000 each. And I saw a big jump from the prior year.
I'm just, this is prospective, but are you guys getting feedback around employee health insurance for next year? How does that timing work out? Just because what I'm hearing is that that's going to be a significant number this year in change.
I don't know that we've gotten feedback from the trust yet specifically.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I knew it was kind of, yeah,
It does seem like our numbers will be more than what we're hearing in the marketplace.
great.
What exactly that means.
Yeah,
it's hard to
right.
say.
Yeah.
But the initial indications are less frightening than most people are saying.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that's usually in motion, right? They usually end up with, I know they'll end up with a number, then it'll be refined as it gets closer.
Yeah.
Right.
Just want to jump to page 15 just because we had a large expense in that just jumped out at me. So we had to pay $7,000 to remove a tree that had, I believe, fallen maybe during a storm or something. And so there was kind of no appropriate place to put it that didn't exceed a budget line. So we ended up putting it under, the contract services, roads. After speaking with Mike about what the purpose of it was, the bill.
That's the one on the corner. That
Elm tree,
Yeah.
And I didn't get the full story if that was related to a storm or just,
I think elm trees are dying.
yeah,
I think it's,
unfortunate.
in fact, I'm surprised we still had one, right? I mean, they've been dying all over the place. I think. Dutch elm. Yeah. Yeah. No.
On the dispatch, there's 28,000 on communications, but nothing drawn down on that. Thought it was hurricane preparedness, but unfortunately, is that?
I'm looking at the wrong. Hold on. That's 30, right?
Yeah, I think if I have my number,
Got it.
was that the part-time employee or
What line are you looking at? Emergency?
69? I think it's 6,900 on.
Oh, communications,
Yeah.
right. We have not received invoices and been directed that they should be allocated to that yet. As we're reviewing numbers to finalize the budget, we may come across things that maybe were assigned to a different line.
What is that line then?
Communications is supposed to be just the general kind of recurring expenses of maintaining the communication center up there.
The head end,
The new-
yeah. So a lot of that's going to be software licenses. Most of those renewals, I think, are in the spring. Again, we're sort of newly absorbing these expenses into the town side.
Is
We
this any
also-
of the salaries? I know we had.
No,
this.
this,
All and we had an assistant, something like that.
the salary line is up above, line 5104, the third one down.
Okay. So this would be more, you're saying, this is.
This is
licensing?
equipment, maintenance, things like that.
Couple notes on the page 14. It looks like my file I must have had my page defined and missed grabbing that column of notes. So I'll fix that for next time. But you'll see two little asterisks there. And that was just related to police overtime. That we're going to see that slow down quite a bit, but really it has to do with an employee that's on leave. And then we had that employee that was in training. So we did require a lot of overtime from the officers, both the seasonal reserve officers and the year-round. And then the other one would just be police housing. And that was just kind of noting what expenses go there, which would be, there's a police chief housing stipend. But the bulk of this is the rent that we pay over at Maclac, or Maclac is the corporate name, but
Seaside.
yep, above Seaside. And that can be around 30 grand a year.
So on the housing, can you break that down? You have Maclac. Maclac, 30,000 roughly.
Roughly 30,000, depending on how many rooms we end up renting. They send us two different bills, like one that covers the summer season and one that covers the off season. So yeah,
And then it's also the chief's house.
the chief's house stipend, yeah. Which I can. Yeah, and I will, those notes will be visible next,
Sure,
on the next time, yeah.
that's fine. So on that there's a stipend and then I assume the chief pays rent. and
Yeah,
there's a
so there's
stipend
rent
after
and then there's a
that.
small stipend on the other side that offsets it.
Okay. And those are the only two that are covered in the housing, this would be the Maclac, the Seaside building. and the
Yeah,
chief's house.
there was one kind of anomaly in there, and that was that one of the employees, one of the existing officers who paid rent. So this was somebody who was an officer who used to be a town employee working in another department, paid rent at the Coast Guard house, and his housing costs were reimbursed during that time that he was in training. So that was a
That's no
couple
longer.
thousand. Yeah, as far as recurring goes, those are what you'll see there. And then, so
So back to this emergency tree removal, is this the one across from the Barrington? Or across from the police station at the Barrington?
really not sure where the location is. It's
Yes.
an elm street, I mean, an elm tree falling across the tree.
No, the Barrington, because when they approached the town to do that work, it became clear that that was not on private property, although that was the expectation. If you actually, we had actually done some work on the boundaries because we were looking at roadside parking in that area and whether people could park their private vehicles along the road. And we had identified in that exercise that the road is actually wider than you think it is. And so when that tree in particular was identified, it was clear that it was in the state right away, not on private property. And therefore it was our responsibility. to
So there
pull
were
that.
two trees that were taken down, I think.
And
right?
I think
The
only,
one to the right, I think is the one that. is that
I
the one-
believe only one of them was our responsibility. Obviously, they were doing significant work at once, but at least part
So
of that was
how
ours.
far back does that actually go then? Because that tree is set back pretty far.
I can
Yeah.
ask Mike to be more specific on a map, but that was sort of surfaced when they were anticipating doing
Mhm.
private work, and it became clear that it was not on private property.
We've gone this far, might as well just hit the other notes real quick. As far as harbors goes, on page 17, there's just some notable lines that are getting close to exceeding their threshold there due to engine replacement, spelling error, that, yeah, that really takes over 50% of that year-to-date total is all based on just the engine replacement. And then we've got our maintenance general. We had some repairs to Old Harbor pedestals, the electric, they provide electricity. And then there's a bill that is pretty much annual for drone footage of the harbor.
What, is that a private company that does the drone footage or, and that is,
I,
For what
I
purpose?
would imagine it's about probably maintaining and tracking the moorings, I would imagine. Is that same, right? I'd have to ask the harbor master, but
Yeah, they started doing that quite some time ago as a more accurate boat count, which then gives them a lot more data about the harbor usage and how it changes throughout the season.
Hmm.
So it's been pretty valuable and it's turned out to be much more accurate than the boat counts, which were done by hand.
Well, what engine did they replace for $8,800? That's a pretty good, that's a pretty good price.
I think it might have been a rebuild. Or maybe a lower unit.
Yeah, more likely, yeah.
you guys want to go through the rest of them or do you think we're good? Do you want to see if you have any questions? I don't want to take your whole night on this.
The system helped you deliver your report. Good with me.
That's well done.
Oh, great, good.
Thank you
Okay.
for thinking through what we need. Really appreciate it.
Anytime. And if you have extra questions that I'm not picking up on, just let me know.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you, Mona. Budget hearing schedule, Millie.
And you have this schedule here in front of you. You'll see the budget presentation at the regular meeting in March 18th. That's set by chart.
Be jet lagged.
And then we're going to jump into a couple of work sessions, the March 25th and 26th. We had to do a lot of navigating holidays and religious holidays through this process. So it is pretty tight, I guess, is where we're at. So then we do have some meetings at 4 and we have one at 3 and some at 7. So you'll see that there. It's posted. It'll be circulated on the bib, et cetera.
You sent these to us, right? On the
But I
calendar?
did, and I'm going to send them again tomorrow. I mean, just to be sure. But yes, I've sent you a calendar invite
Yeah,
for these.
thank you.
Yes. For the March 25th and 26th? Okay. I didn't go through them all. Do you want me to?
No,
Millie, no,
I just misheard you.
Mhm.
nothing's changed from what you sent out to us before on the dates.
No, the only thing that changed was that I had a couple of them at 8
In the
a.m.
morning. The times haven't, the times,
Thank you,
but not.
Molly.
Only if you're serving coffee. Thank you, Millie. Anything further? Sure.
We got this letter that
Yeah.
we had in the consent agenda
Mhm.
on Black Island Express. And I'm wondering, we have an annual meeting with Interstate and I'm wondering why we don't have the same thing with this other ferry company. Sorry, where we could raise the same questions about our concerns about 4th of July and et cetera. So I'm wondering if we could.
Good.
So this has come up before and we're in the process of having those conversations.
Got it. I'm looking in the wrong direction.
Okay.
Thank you. All right.
Don't
The
look at me.
conversation of setting up a meeting.
Keith is looking at me very blankly.
All right, anything else? Not gonna have a motion to adjourn? Second, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.